OK, well, let's find out what's happening in the world of business. Karis Garland is here. Hello, Karis.
Hi, Tom.
Now, a Wall Street Journal report says that the US financial regulator is investigating OpenAI to determine whether or not it misled investors.
The US Securities and Exchange Commission is probing internal communications of the ChatGPT creator, particularly those concerning CEO Sam Altman after he was fired and ousted from the board in November last year. At the time, the OpenAI board said Altman had not been consistently candid in his communication with the board, adding that it no longer had confidence in his ability to lead. However, less than a week later, he was reinstated to the top job and a new board was brought in. The probe would add to a growing list of government and legal challenges against the company, and it comes after the Microsoft-backed startup was valued at least $80 billion. Inflation in Germany, France and Spain eased further in February, a development likely to be welcomed by the European Central Bank as it weighs when to begin cutting interest rates. In Germany, consumer price growth fell sharply to 2.5%, the lowest figure since June 2021. Spain's annual inflation rate dropped to 2.9% in February, and in France, prices rose 3.1% year-on-year, so slightly more than expected. But the figures suggest that the Eurozone inflation overall, which will be published on Friday, will show a slowdown to around 2.5% this month, moving even closer to the ECB's 2% target. Taking a look at the day's trading action now, and on Wall Street, the Dow Jones slipped slightly, but the major averages were headed towards a winning month. The S&P 500 gaining about 0.33%, and the Nasdaq adding just over 0.5% there. Investors also digesting a key inflation measure in the US, which edged lower on an annual basis in January, which was in line with expectations. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk says he's not ruling out banning Russian agricultural imports as he meets with protesting farmers' leaders. Tusk also held a meeting with his counterpart from Latvia, which has already banned farm products from Russia. Like much of Europe, Poland has been gripped by farmers' protests in recent weeks, with unfair competition from Ukraine one of their main complaints. The Polish leader said he would study the impact of the embargo in Latvia.
Chcę, żeby wszyscy dobrze zrozumieli, że problem z nadwyżkami.
I want everyone to understand that the problem of food and grain surpluses in Poland and Europe, the problem of unequal competition, it's not solely a problem of grain and food imports from Ukraine. Few people realise that our market in Europe and in Poland is being destabilised by products coming from Russia and Belarus. So we need to take all possible measures to stop that.
Przez produkty płynące z Rosji i Białorusi.
And as Iran gears up to hold parliamentary elections on Friday, people frustrated with the country's cratering economy say they won't head to the polls. Between a 20% youth unemployment rate and high inflation, there's widespread discontent and people are feeling uninspired about the future. Eliza Herbert reports.
Here in the aisles of the Grand Bazaar, shoppers browse without opening their wallets. Crippling inflation, low growth and international sanctions are plaguing Iran's economy and hitting citizens hard.
The economic situation for people is terrible. Not everyone can afford to buy clothes these days.
Prices have dramatically changed compared to the past. Inflation has gone up and people's pockets are empty, so they can't buy what they want.
As a show of the political significance of consumer prices, the country's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei even named this Iranian calendar year the Year of Controlling Inflation. After topping 50% last year, the year-on-year consumer price index now sits at around 36%, according to the National Statistics Centre. Meanwhile, the Iranian currency, the rial, is plunging, with the war in Gaza worsening the decline. This, coupled with the rise in political and economic uncertainties, has spurred many Iranians to buy physical assets to protect against losses, such as a home, jewellery or even an iPhone. Despite a 2023 ban by the government on the iPhone 14 and 15, people are risking buying the products illegally, regardless of an upsurge in local scams. Others are choosing liquid assets such as hard cash in foreign currencies and gold. Iran's economy has also been battered by US sanctions imposed over its contested nuclear program, which sharply reduced Iran's oil revenues and restricted trade.
Those parliamentary elections that aren't expected to bring many surprises, but we will be covering them nonetheless, Tom.
Absolutely. They're tomorrow, aren't they, the elections? All right. Thank you very much indeed, Karis Garland there with the business news. Thank you to you.